Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to be looking at the bloody journal. So let's get right into the story. It began with a book I should never have opened. I found it tucked away in the back corner of a secondhand store, buried under stacks of forgotten novels. It wasn't bound like the others, just a leather journal, old and cracked. Its pages yellowed with age. There was no title, no name on the cover, only a faint stain across the front that looked disturbingly like dried blood. Something about it pulled me in. When I asked the shopkeeper about it, the man glanced at the journal and quickly shook his head. "Not mine," he muttered. "Someone left it. You can take it if you want, no charge." His voice trembled as though he was glad to be rid of it. I should have walked away, but instead, I slipped it into my bag. That night, I sat at my desk, the house silent around me. I opened the journal, expecting to find blank pages, maybe some scribbles. Instead, I found careful, neat handwriting, written in black ink that hadn't faded despite the age of the paper. The first page began like a diary. October 5, 2003. Today, the boy down the street broke his arm climbing a tree. I frowned. The entry felt too specific, too random, but when I read further, I realized every entry described an event: a fire, a car accident, a stranger collapsing in a grocery store. Each one marked with a date, written before it happened. At first, I thought it was some kind of elaborate prank, but the more I read, the more unsettled I became. The events matched real news stories I remembered from years ago, right down to the names and places. Whoever had written this journal knew things before they happened. And then I turned to the final pages. The handwriting grew more frantic, words scrawled as though written in haste. My breath caught as I read the entry dated only 3 days from now. It described a man sitting alone at his desk, reading a journal by lamplight. It described his house, his neighborhood, even the scar on his hand from a childhood accident. It was describing me. The final line read, "He will not live past midnight." I slammed the journal shut, my pulse hammering. It couldn't be real. Someone had to be playing a trick on me, maybe the shopkeeper, but how could he have known these details about my life? The next day I tried to shake it off, but unease clung to me like a shadow. I avoided the journal, leaving it on the desk untouched. Still, I couldn't resist glancing at it every time I walked by. Its presence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. By the second night, curiosity gnawed at me. I opened it again, desperate to find some clue that it was a hoax. But instead, I found more. Additional lines had appeared, written in the same black ink, though I swore they hadn't been there before. He tries to deny it, but the journal is never wrong. My hands shook as I read. I hadn't written those words. No one else had been in my house, yet the journal knew what I was thinking. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the house, every rustle of wind outside made me jump. I left every light on, staring at the clock as the hours crawled by. Midnight came and went. I was still alive. Relief washed over me, but it didn't last. When I checked the journal again, the entry had changed. The new line read, "Not tonight. He will die on October 8th. That was 2 nights away. I tried to get rid of it. I drove miles out of town and threw it into the river. I watched it sink beneath the dark water, certain I was free. But when I came home, it was waiting on my desk, damp and dripping. The ink smudged but still legible. By now, panic had rooted itself deep in my chest. I stopped leaving the house. I stopped answering calls. I couldn't tell anyone who would believe me. Every time I opened the journal, more details appeared. He will hear footsteps when he is alone. The lights will flicker before the end. He will beg, but no one will answer. And then, the worst part, sketched drawings appeared between the words. Rough charcoal figures, shadowy shapes standing behind a man at his desk. The man was me. October 8th arrived too quickly. All day I felt the weight of something pressing down on me, an invisible countdown. The journal lay open on my desk, pages fluttering though the air was still. I told myself I wouldn't read it, but when the lights flickered for the first time, I grabbed it with trembling hands. The final entry filled the page, written in jagged, frantic script. He will hear them coming. He will feel their hands. He will see their faces in the dark. And when the clock strikes midnight, his story will end. That was an hour away. The clock on the wall chimed once. Then again, I strained to listen. Was that a sound outside? Footsteps. I whirled around, my heart hammering against my ribs, but saw nothing. I sank back into the chair, trying to quell the rising panic. Another chime echoed through the house, then another. 5 more chimes and the minutes ticked by. My gaze fell back to the journal. "Their hands," it said. I hugged myself, shivering despite the warmth of the room. The hair on the back of my neck prickled. I dared to glance out the window, my eyes searching the darkness. The moon hung like a watchful eye in the sky. A branch scraped against the glass, and I flinched. More footsteps now, soft and approaching. The journal warned me. They were coming for me. The doorknob turned. I screamed, scrambling back in my chair. The door creaked open, but no one stepped in. I held my breath, listening, waiting. Footsteps closer now, and a voice, not a voice, many voices, whispering just outside my door. Their whispers slithered through the cracks, cold and sharp. "Let him in," one whispered. "He's ours now," said another. I buried my face in my hands, tears spilling down my cheeks. "Don't hurt him," I choked out, my voice barely a whisper. The whispers grew louder, pressing against the door. "Let us in," they hissed. The doorknob turned again. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for whatever was to come. But the door didn't open. Instead, the whispers faded, retreating back into the hallway. Silence descended, thick and heavy. I remained frozen in my chair, my entire body trembling. The journal slipped from my grasp, its pages fluttering to the floor. I stared at the clock, its hands creeping forward ever so slowly. The silence stretched on, punctuated only by the thudding of my heart. The clock chimed again. Twice. 3 times. The whispering started up again, louder now, more insistent. "Let us in," they hissed. "Let us in." I wanted to scream, to beg for mercy. But my throat was hoarse. All I could do was watch as the clock struck midnight. 4 chimes, 5, 6. Then a new sound cut through the whispers. The scrape of metal on wood. The doorknob turned. I stared, horrified, as the door swung open. But there was no one there, only the open doorway and the darkness beyond it. Then I saw the journal lying on the floor, its pages open to the last entry. The words, "His story will end," burned into my brain. And in the corner a single black shoe sat resting on the threshold.